Um, that being said, there have been some issues within the court, some slandering, and so yeah, I'm not even going to go into it because based off of our last conversations, you told me that you are particularly not interested, or not so much, or not interested, that you would not like to partake in the
Hmm.
issues of the past and the politics of man and butter
Well, if I may
being
interject,
withstood
Jarl,
of the holds. Yes.
my outlook has begun to change. If I know I said I should wait, but I think the topic you're about to broach warrants me giving you this statement.
Okay, go ahead.
My Ashen Lord Malakath gave me a vision many moons ago when the Civil War came to its end. To cut out the rot of dishonor that plagued amongst all the strongholds that caused us to fall into ruin was the byproduct of weak leadership. It is what originated my path of redemption, to re-honor the name Largashbur. And once that was completed, I was called to the Reach. Following the path of the first Ash Reader, we were rebaptized under our Ashen Lord. And did we find redemption further, not just for Largashbur, but for all of our kin. But the Reach has been a land that is long plagued with a similar rot, corruption, driven by the weak leadership of many. It has seen as many Lord Regents as there are owners of an inn. Like fluttering grass in the winds, they come and go. My people, all people of the Reach, have been the ones to bear the burden of this negligence. I have always sought to keep myself separate from the courts, the politics of man, because I believed that was our reason for falling from grace. Orcs that became the attack dogs of rebel leaders by the name Telvanni and Windhelm. An act of grave dishonor that, had I seen it coming sooner, perhaps could have saved my people. And so, Jarl, Malakath has called me to a greater purpose once more, to act as a representative for all Orsimer, for all people of the Reach, as there are both kin and blood kin. I am a true son of Malakath, but even Malakath himself recognizes the strength that exists within all people. And so, it was my plan to offer a formal claim to help take control of the Reach so that she may be reborn anew. I do not seek war. I do not seek power. But my Ash Wardens and Ash Readers have pushed me to take on a greater mantle, to leave the stronghold in capable arms, to ensure that all Orsimer, all strongholds, can bear the safety of the Reach, a land that is dusted by ash, by our Lord, Malakath. I have spoken with all chieftains throughout the land, the council of the few we call them, and they have all prepared to support my claim. I do not know how these politics of men work. I am nothing but a stronghold orc. But Jarl Kaladas Wolfsbane, the honorable warrior that you are, I see you bear the weight of leadership incumbent upon you, not because you seek it, because you bear the responsibility of cutting out the rot I speak of. I see the honor in your steps, and I offer a helping hand, should you seek it. A formal claim with more orcs is going to bring to you. But again, you are a busy man, and you are here before me now, and so I speak my words in isolation, should they be confirmed by others. Now, speak your words. I have spoken long enough.
Well, what you state is mostly what I want to hear. The Baron, known as Thrax, is being summoned to Solitude. He is, by my order, to report to the Blue Palace in Solitude to answer questions regarding some issues that have come up, similarly to how every other court member here in the Reach have had to answer as to what and why they have done some of the things that they have done. This corruption you speak of, it is not a fallacy, it is true. That being said, though, not all members of the court and not all members of the Reach have this issue. And I'm not implying that you are saying that, but the reality of Skyrim is that a few bad actors can create a vacuum for the entirety of Skyrim. We have seen it time and time again. I seek to root that out as well. We speak of a claim for Lord Regency here. You understand that currently I am the Jarl here. I have an interim Lord Regent here whom I do not anticipate to keep here. He is a member of the court of Hafengar. He is to return to Hafengar. That is what he seeks. That is what I seek. But the reality is there needs to be a certain set of permeance here where we can step away and know that the hold will not falter back into the same issues it had. Being it is that we are a bordering hold, I don't want to see this time and time again. But you speak of a claim. Of your claim, you understand this is not by any means any kind of lawful claim, though, yes? I know
of course, Jarl.
You don't entirely understand the, and I'm not perceiving what you're saying as an allegation to take said throne, but understand that the title Lord Regent, it is not a title of Skyrim or Nordic tradition. This is an empire, this is a title that the Empire brought with them many years ago, and a very confusing title at that. A title that was meant to serve in a place where the Empire could find some cultural middle ground between that of the Empire and that of the Skyrim Nords. So, what I mean by this is this title, although has bearing in the Empire, as we are an imperial province, under Skyrim tradition, it is typically not recognized as, you know.
What's this for next?
The title of Jarl is one that is supported. But it some time ago was decided that although someone is a regent, that does not by virtue make them a Jarl. They have to go before the moot of Skyrim, the moot of Jarls. And one seated Jarl must invoke a vote to make someone a Jarl. But going back to this, what you're saying, you are willing to step away from your clan to move into a court position?
Yes. I bring up Lord Regent, Jarl, whatever it may be. I know the title is Chieftain, because with all due respect to everyone here, especially to Stewart Rebellion, who I believe has been of the honorable sort, they have risen and fallen many times. The Bro Morkel clan has been one of the most stabilizing forces in all of the Reach. They have seen Jarls rise and fall more times than any others. Dushnik Jarl has held the oldest chieftains of all Skyrim. When this hold has stood empty, with potential cultists claiming its walls, it was Dushnik Jarl who stepped up to guard them from werewolf and vampire attacks. It was Dushnik Jarl who's filled the void where they could not protect even themselves. I see this as a greater risk for my own people, and for all that of the Reach. I do not seek power for control. I seek power for safety. I do not know much of the court and how they interact, but I know, I should say, not all members of the court, as I don't have full visibility. but I have sensed a growing consistency in destability. There is constant churn. We can hardly ever speak about Orsimer and concerns, our cultural impact, unless we go to the Legion. Many of the other strongholds who have sought even representation to craft laws to the Lex Imperium do so because they have strong Jarls and leaders. I make this claim, this offer of support is maybe a better way to say it, as an own trial. I have no desire to leave my stronghold, but my Lord Malakath has called me. If I do not rise in a moment such as this, I forever risk the same churn, the same rot, the same corruption to be made manifest once more, and I grow tired of it, Jarl Kaladas. I learned many lessons in the Civil War. You heard me spoke with the fire that I directed at my kin, but we have since unified. The Council of Chiefs come together under one people to receive the boons of our Lord Malakath. There is nothing else left for me to do but seek the prosperation of all people in our ancestral land. This is the greatest calling I have, and so I offer it to you now. I am not a court member. I have not engaged in the politics of men and mer. But this is the trial that my lord has laid before me, and I step up to it, to let it crack down upon my frame, and to build a better world for all that call the Reach home.
What he does say is partially true, at least in my experience. I've only been here, 2 months now, roughly? Month and a half. Several times has Dushnak come to the aid during times of crisis, or perceived crisis at the least, with the Soul Karen incidents, the vampire attacks, werewolf attacks. He speaks true to this. I cannot attest to what he did during and after the Civil War. I wasn't here for that.
All the other chieftains can speak of my acts within the strongholds. As I understand, your visibility was limited to our ways. Such is the stronghold way. But now I expand my aperture, my scope, so that I may seek the long-term survivability and sustainability of Orsimer throughout all Skyrim, but especially for all people within the Reach. There are many that have approached Dushnak trying to wield us as a weapon, whether it be Baron Thrax, the Regent Sahina, or any other politician who seeks to wield our strength, and I grow tired of it, Jarl. It seems clear that it needs a heavier hand to provide the structure that will be long-lasting, so that you can focus on Hafingar, as I'm sure would be your preference. And I say these words to you now, Jarl, knowing that I am one orc. You remember me as the war-torn soldier, almost about to lose his head in the era after the Civil War. I understand that my statements need backing. There are many orcs who are prepared to speak of this. Caught me off guard at the time you did, but I feel this is the most appropriate chance that I must speak these words to you.
I will take these words into serious consideration as I look at what is the best for the Reach, and I cannot overlook what is a clear passion for the Reach, but my only concern being you not knowing the ways of, I can't even say Nordic, but, well, yes, of the way of the court, if you will. But such a thing shouldn't be the only reason someone not to be considered to assist in such nature.
An understandable concern, But even if you are to review the scrolls of Malakath's chosen people, one that has built branch and frameworks across all of Skyrim, across all strongholds, this ownership and scope is not dissimilar from what you yourself experience. You do not know me. You know the warrior on the battlefield. Your apprehension is understandable. I do not seek out control. I do not seek out the position of Jarl. I seek a position that will guarantee the framework and structure that the Reach deserves. For me, seems like the obvious path is that of a Lord Regent or a Jarl, and so the trial I must undergo is to become an exile of my own people, to wander into the realm of men and Mer, to understand and learn your ways, and to bridge the gap between them all.
While I have no opinions on him taking it if you wish, there's also another suggestion for you, Azog, that perhaps you have a more formal position to help aid that framework under a regent or Jarl, who with the guarantee that you will be able to help pursue this framework. Would that also be acceptable?
I'm tempted to say yes, Steward. However, there have been many weak regents, many weak Jarls, and I have tried to help identify and grow someone worthy of Malakath's blessing, and that of Dushnik Jarl. But it is clear that I have yet to find one. If you can show me an orc, or a man, or a mer, that can truly bear this mantle with the weight that it deserves, I am open-minded, but I speak with the passion of one who has sought redemption where there is weakness, one that was prepared to risk his life and die for the sins of his chieftain. 5 months of rebuilding to turn his people into something new, and one that earned the blessing of both the Empire and Malakath for our legal worship. It has been a long journey, a long path, a vision that I have seen fulfilled, and I have lived many moons, and I begin to grow old. And so I now look to the ash pit, and it is only through true endurance, through true struggle, through true leadership, can a rot this deep truly be unbound. I have never sought to see the Empire defeated, a lesson I learned gravely when I was a young orc during the Civil War. Jarl Kaladas, I sense that you need support. This is what I offer. I'm sure there are many pathways to see it achieved. I give you the weight of my words so that you may hear them, contemplate them, so the ash of Malakath's will may fall down upon you, and may you understand what the correct path forward looks like. I do not have a clear vision of what the future holds, but I offer you one path. It is up to you, if you find it reasonable, and if it should be chosen.
Very well. I will take this again into serious consideration. And what I will do, I will not leave you without an answer. I will summon you back here. I won't make a decision now. As a good leader, you should know this, would inquire with those advisors who know the good, the bad, the indifferent of all of the circumstances surrounding such an incident. But I will, by my word and honor, at least give you that an answer. I will summon you as soon as I have something to give you.
Very well. I do ask that you give me some notice, as the other chieftains are prepared to understand and help you understand the weight of the words that I speak. I am one orc. I speak for all Orsimer. And so it is important that they share their voices as well.
I see Chrono behind you. Is he here in support of you, I imagine?
He is. The council just met together on this problem that we've seen in the Reach, and for me to take such a grave step, before Malakath's gaze, a vote had to be held before the Council of Chiefs, of which they unanimously agreed that I should stake the claim. And so he is here now, as this was on short notice. Up to you if you wish to hear his words.
Absolutely. I would hear Chrono anytime, any day.
If I may as well, I'm not going to hide my opinion behind closed doors. If not a position of Lord Regent or Jarl, Azog would make a fine advisor to whoever does take that position. I'd recommend you find someone who'd be willing to take him on as such.
Alright. Chrono?
Jarl Kaladas. Good to see you as always, friend. How are you?
Hi, you as well. I am good. I am good.
I understand there are much words. Words get filled in a room like this and it becomes cramped sometimes. I understand. As far as what has been said, I kind of feel I came in the end of it, but I understand what was said. You seek to know my mind, Jarl?
I do.
It would seem to me, with this new Council of Chieftains that has been created, we have ways of doing things, ways of voting, ways of coming together with our minds to make a decision. It would seem to me that I know Azog's mind. I feel I have known it for some time. Seems to me his mind is set. There is really nothing I can do about it. He will do what he wishes, as all chieftains will do. Has his eyes set on Markarth or an Arsinium. You know my ways. I am supportive of talking about this. I am supportive of discord. I'm supportive of talking about this peacefully to see if there can be some sort of middle ground on this topic. I know that this topic carries much weight. That is where I stand with things. I am here to see that this topic is taken seriously, that we can all come together just to think of a picture where this potentially would work. I mean, can you even see that, Jarl? Can you see an Arsinium within the borders of Skyrim? And if so, what would that look like to you? And does it carry merit if it involves keeping the security of the Reach? I know it is a vision, but just think on it for a moment.
He speaks, Jarl, of a cultural Orsinium, a land where all orcs are protected, just as the men and mare that reside within these walls are protected now. We are a people of exiles. We have sought to see our survivability under the laws of the Empire, but the Reach has not done so. And so I step forward, within the laws of the Lex Imperium, within the laws of the Empire that resides within Tamriel, to build Markarth, our cultural Orsinium, a place that we can truly call a safe home.
You have my
Very
opinion
well.
on it.
My statement stands. I will return to you or have you summoned to give you an official response as to how we could proceed and if we could proceed. As the current Jarl of both the Reach and Hafingar, I must respect the current citizens and denizens of the Reach, although not many in number. I do recognize that. Those who have remained are very proud of, maybe not so much their court, but they are proud of one another. Those to the left and right of them who have supported this place since it was established. My only my parting question would be, if you found yourself as a regent under the Empire, what treatment would, you speak of a cultural Orsinian, what treatment would the vast majority of those Khajiits and other minority races here, what would that outlook be?
Ancestral law is that of the exiles, Jarl. There are many races within the lands of Skyrim that have stood as exiles, just as the Orsimer have. Orsinium, cultural in name only, Markarth, would be a place of hospice, a place of safety, but that can only be provided with true strength, one that recognizes weakness early and cuts it out. The court members that stand before you now, while I may not know them extremely well, have stood with the endurance that Malakath himself would bless. To undergo the corruption and rot, the weakness that I've continued to discuss, and still stand in defense of their home, is something only the most honorable of warriors could do, whether they see the battlefield or not. Markarth is not just a place for orcs. That is not the path that I foresee. I will tell you of the Bloodkin this once, Jarl. There are many different interpretations of the Bloodkin before Malakath's will, but within the Code of Fire and Ash, derived from the first Ash Reader Savage read, there is one thing that remains true. What is more honorable than the Bloodkin, the man, the Myrrh, the beast, that chooses to follow our Ashen Lord's will, to undergo a life of struggle, of trials, to find strength through true perseverance, and to emerge a stronger warrior for it, an exile among exiles. In some ways, the Bloodkin bears a burden and a struggle that even true kin will never understand. We are all one people, bound within the lands of Skyrim. I offer a strong hand of defense, guidance, and stability, and I am not dumb enough to say that the Empire does not provide that, but they need help within the reach they do. I do not seek to separate. I do not seek to build a land that is only for orcs. That is foolish. That is the thinking that got all my brothers and sisters slain in the Civil War. I was prepared to die myself and see the Ash Pit, but now I see that Malakath had a different plan for me. A vision of redemption, and one that will live long past my life. That is what I now seek.
Very well. If you were brought into any official court position, would you accept my tutelage and my court's tutelage, or would you dismiss it to do your own thing?
Jarl Kaladas. Saw you on the battlefield, I'm sure, once or twice. You are clearly an honorable warrior, and there is one thing I have noticed, and there are a few things Chrono has told me about your past. I have heard you were a farmer, thrust into a position of leadership, not because you sought it, but because the call of the station required you to aid the livelihood of your fellow man, to have it grow to a place of safety and stability, to weed out the weakness and corruption that brings risk to the lives of your family and your fellow man. This is the same story that I have. A warrior that has gone through struggles that I have gone through. My ear will always be open. I am not so foolish to know that I know everything. My vision comes to me from Malakath, but it is still clouded in ash, and not all things are seen clear. I would accept your support.
You have given me much to think about. And again, I will consider this. I will speak with both my court and the court that is in the Reach. I cannot guarantee anything, but I can tell you that if this were to happen, it would not be easy. This would be a trial, this would be a challenge. You would not be thrust to the top easily. I test my court and everyone in my court very, very thoroughly. I want to ensure that the best are in the positions that we could possibly have. And I want to know that once Hafengar steps away from the Reach, I don't have to worry about a bandit king coming and sitting on the throne. That has been my fear, because I'm sure that you are aware that has happened here in this realm, and I do not want to see that ever again.
I will tell you one short story before I ask you a question. I know this has grown long. I will not bend your ear further. When we sought the boons of our Lord Markarth, there was one thing I knew true in my mind, and I will say this plainly with Kronos standing next to me. When it became clear that only one stronghold, that only one warrior would bear the weapon known as Trithax, I did seek this boon and this weapon. For one reason, and one reason only. True power requires a constrained steward. If it is to fall into someone who does not understand the weight and responsibility of the power he wields, then he is doomed to fall into desecration, into ill. He risks the death of not just himself, but the people he represents. He threatens the damage and punishment of the Aedra and the Daedra. It is a life wrought with risk. I took this mantle, knowing that it would be forever an existential threat to my life, because I have always been prepared to give the entire and full sacrifice that my Lord Markarth demands. Such is the plight of a Jarl. I have seen many Jarls resign and die. I understand the extreme risk that I take on. Even for me to make such a claim to you, so quickly, so brazenly, before the current court, in and of itself, is an extreme risk. I speak these words to you, and I will remind you that the first tenet and code of our Code of Markarth is let no hidden hand shame the clan. Nothing is done in secret. Nothing is done in silence. Courts are forever plagued with backstabbing, corruption, acts of evil, all for power. The beauty of orcs is that we speak plainly. We are always honest, and you always see it coming if they are a true follower of the code. This is what I will always promise. But you can only view my integrity through my actions. Takes time, it does. Takes the word of others. I am not in a rush. I seek the health of the Reach. No more, and no less. I will complete any trial you put before me, Jarl. Heed my words.
Very well.
The only other question I have is you did mention trial for Baron Thrax, did you not? Is there a time that you need me summoned?
I don't want to say it's a trial. He's being summoned to... I am doing an investigation. I have done so on every court member in the Reach, and I would do so for any court member in my own. But I want to, before I conclude my investigation, I would like to hear his side of things. So he has been summoned as soon as he wakes to the Blue Palace in Solitude, so that we may speak plainly, figure out how, if at all, we move forward. Because there are issues, as we spoke of, that need to be addressed. So, that being said, no, at this time there is no official trial, as the investigation is still ongoing. So,
Understood. Call on me when you need me then.
Very well. I will send word when I have an answer for you regarding this.
Very well. I will not take more of your time, Jarl. Am I dismissed?
Yes, thank you.
Have you needed me for the next 5 minutes because I need to go with them and fix their mine?
No, you're good, Rebellion.
May
I will be
Malakath guide
back.
you all.
Aye, thank
Once I fix that, if you are still awake.
Take care, y'all. We will speak again soon. You as well. Thank you.
Be safe, all.
Markarth.
Hail.
Excuse us.
Move out of the way, Casimir.
Hail, bow and arrow. We return to Dushnik Jarl. Join us.